Welcome to day 364, Becoming Peace, Meditation and Inspiration. The name of today's session is The Stories I Spin. This is number 4 on the list of 5 takeaways from this past year. Important critical components for survival. If you implement the 5 lessons I've learned this upcoming year and integrate them into your daily life, I can guarantee you will have an increased amount of peace and productivity with less mental health episodes and decreased amounts of stress. So here's just a quick review on what we've covered so far. The first golden nugget is a review of our expectations. The second on the list is learning how to get quiet. The third item is dispelling emotional vampires. And the fourth lesson I've learned, which we're covering today, is paying attention to the stories I spin. Tomorrow, we'll unveil number 5. So let's get started. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And then before you exhale through your mouth, hold the breath for 3 counts. Now go ahead and exhale through your mouth. Finish with 3 more cycles of this type of breathing, and then return to breathing normal. You can sit in your comfortable space and relax, closing your eyes and going with me on today's journey. I truly have discovered for myself the secret to keeping my mind and heart in check. So I wanted to share it with you today as lesson number 4. So I know that we've covered this concept in previous meditations, but this made the list of my top 5 practices that have made a huge difference in my life this past year. Sometimes, I'll be honest, my thoughts are like runaway freight trains chasing down a hill at over 100 miles an hour with no brakes. Can you relate? Once a negative thought takes hold, it's like a cascade of destruction. The next thing that happens is it elicits some type of a feeling. My thought creates a feeling, depending on what that thought is. So, for example, if I have a thought of, how am I going to afford groceries tomorrow? And there's currently only $5 in the checking account, the feeling that follows is despair and fear. The next step that happens is I might cry and isolate myself to my bed because I can't deal with the situation. So some type of an action springs up. So not only do I possess fear and despair, but now I become unproductive and I'm paralyzed and not producing anything. Next, this affects my beliefs. I now believe life isn't worth living. It's stressful and full of disappointments. I now believe I don't want to be here anymore. Life is now unfair, and I begin to believe I'm always on the losing end of reality. So do you see how my thought of how am I going to afford groceries ultimately ends up having an effect on my beliefs? So we can concur that thoughts produce feelings. Feelings produce action of some type, whether it's non-action or moves us to action. And then the next step, it shapes our beliefs. Do you see the pattern? This process controlled me for decades. I was subject to whatever the wind blew into my mind. I was scattered like dandelion seeds. It affected my choices, my mental health, and my physical health in such a negative way by not understanding what was happening with this process. So I began to study how I might change all this. I figured out over the years, and especially this past year, that I needed to become the captain of my thoughts. Because if I could manage my thoughts, I could manage my feelings, my actions, and my beliefs. This is huge. This is everything. Plus the fact that we create our reality by what we think about. Our subconscious goes to work for us. This is a topic for another meditation. So guess what? Here's the antidote for you. When you wake up in the morning, before you get out of bed, grab a notebook you set beside your bed the night before. And while your mind is fresh and active, and you have the most energy, write down the story you're going to tell yourself today. Write down and claim the story you'll spin for yourself over the next 24 hours. Here are some examples. I'm blissfully content and abundantly grateful. Or, I love my life and the blessings I get to enjoy, which are blank, blank, blank. Or, today is a perfect day to have a perfect day. I love my life. Someone out there would give anything to be in my shoes. Here's one of my favorites. I am the daughter of the creator of the universe. He loves me perfectly. And when I was grumbling and groaning about all the chores I do, here is the magic antidote for me yesterday morning. I am so fortunate to have 7 horses, 3 dogs, 1 cat, and 20 chickens with fresh eggs. It completely transformed my grumbly attitude. Do you see how this works? Claim your story. Never ever leave your daily story or script to chance. When I wake up and write down my script for the day, I repeat it about 20 times as I'm getting dressed and ready to greet the day. I write it in a post-it note, a few post-it notes, and stick it in various places like my mirror, the fridge door, the inside of my front door, anywhere I can keep reminding myself what it is I'm focusing on today. Whenever negative thoughts come in, and trust me, they do, they're like weeds. I just revert to speaking my daily story out loud. This is also the way I combat depressive thoughts, sad, gloomy feelings, and despair, fear, and anger. I find a story I can spin and immediately do not ruminate on the stinking thinking. I repeat over and over my story that I chose on purpose, and it's like magic. It transforms me like nothing else. It spills over into what I'm asking God for and praying for. It spills over into journal writing. It spills over into my attitude for the entire day. And the other day I woke up sick to my stomach about the stresses of seeking some property I need to sell in order to move forward with my goals. I said to myself, I'm grateful I have property to sell, and someone's life is greatly being blessed by purchasing my land. I kid you not. I drove to a neighbor's house after I completed my chores to give her a small Christmas gift. When I left, she said, "Hey, I have a sister who is on an extended vacation and won't be back for a month, but she's very, very interested in purchasing your land and water." Holy cow, really? My goodness, I was stunned. And then I just got grateful, praising God above for hearing my prayers. No matter what happens in this instance, do you see the positivity that was infused into my heart? I do want to offer a disclaimer here. Not every story you spin is going to have that type of an impact that quickly. But I think you get the idea that when we are knee deep in mud, the only way out is to remove yourself, wash your boots off with the hose, and move to grassier pastures. It's an on-purpose action and thought that gets you out of the mire. Standing knee-deep in mud and only wishing you could be free is not going to make it happen. You have to replace that stinking thinking and then start to move or do something. Faith is an action, and it begins with the thoughts that you tell yourself. You can't move if you don't command your body to move. Our lives all begin with a thought. So get really good at doing some on-purpose thinking, okay? You're not a victim where your thoughts are concerned. You're a survivor. You're a creator. So today, I'm going to hold space for you to get yourself in check, claim your story, and begin to use it as your daily mantra. Sometimes I'll even love the story I tell myself so much that I use it for multiple days. So I'm going to mind the time for you while you craft and create an amazing story you can spin for today. Come back when you hear a soft bell. Enjoy. Let's come back. And before we close out our session, I'm going to give you just one more minute to repeat your story to yourself out loud. If you can't do it out loud, say it in a whisper under your breath, but say it nonetheless. Peace comes when I take the time to create my story and repeat it to myself several times a day. Thank you for joining me today. I love holding space for you. May you be blessed. May your heart feel peace. May you be surrounded by the love that you create inside of your thoughts. I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope you choose to join me too. Bye for now.